We got a little disagreement among the two Joneses. Selectively aggressive, not aggressive at all. We're going to try to figure all that out. And joining us, and let me be the first to wish you, although I'm sure others have. Happy birthday to our own Charean Williams, who I will not reveal your age because I already have.
Think Tommy Novus. Think Tommy
Happy
Novus.
Birthday.
A great
Tommy
longhorn.
Novus, that goes way back.
A great longhorn. Yes. That's right.
For you, Charean. Horns
like
down.
it. It's
Happy
a good
birthday.
way to start the day. You know, I know how players feel. Simms, you'll know this. You get to 30 and they say, well, I don't feel quite like I did at 20. I'm starting to feel my age. Boy, you get up, keep going on that, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. You really feel your age, don't you, Mike?
I'm not with you yet. I got 3 months
Not
and
yet.
2 days.
Oh, God.
I got 3 months and 2 days.
Don't let him fool you. You saw him last week, Charean. He was complaining about all the work he had to do in the interviews. I think he's feeling his age. He wanted to go take naps. He was all worn out. So don't believe him. He's feeling it. He's becoming an old man. Wait, also, Charean, I'm interested in, what do we got planned for tonight? Forget the football stuff. Drinky, drinky, smoky, smoky. What are we doing tonight? We going to have some fun?
Not in Texas.
At least go to dinner. If Mike lets me off, my boss, if he lets me off, I will definitely go to dinner. So
Yeah,
got
I don't
some
know.
lunch.
I got to
plans with
think
some
about
friends.
it. I don't know. You know how I am. It's no days off, no nights off, no hours off, no minutes off. So we'll have to see how that plays out. We got to see what the Cowboys are playing out in free agency. What do you think the truth is here? Is this Jerry just clumsily trying to conceal plans, or has he basically pulled the trump card on his son?
Well, we go back to last week at the Combine, Mike, and I said, I'm going to have to see it to believe it, because since they signed Brandon Carr in 2012 to that $50.1 million contract on the first day of free agency, they've done nothing in the first phase of free agency. That was a long time ago. And this has kind of been their MO ever since. Last year, they signed Royce Freeman and Eric Kendricks, and that was it. That's not enough to supplement this roster. So I think Jerry's fooling himself if he thinks that this roster is complete and they can just fill those holes in the draft. That's just not going to happen. They have too many holes. Most teams have too many holes. You have to use free agency. It's just like in college football now. You have to use the portal. If you're not willing to do that, then you're probably not going to win very many games. You're not going to win any championships. You're probably going to go 30 years in between that have a drought that's continuing and will continue until you decide that you're going to use free agency at least a little bit to fill in those holes. You don't have to sign the top free agents. We all know that. But those middle tier free agents is who the Cowboys need to be targeting. It sounds like to me they're not going to do that.
Yeah, that stinks. I don't understand that either. And you're exactly right. I mean, you only have so many devices to get your team better in the NFL, and you're not going to get to Eagles land, okay, with just going, we're going to draft and develop, and then we're going to drag our feet on when we pay them, so then we have to pay them more, and then, oh, wait, we don't even have the money to spend on the free agents to get to Eagles land or whatever. It does not make sense. It does not. Off of that, Charean, all right, well, first thing I want to say, Mike and Charean, because I know we talked about this when we talked about the Cowboys last week a little bit. I think that clip right there is why we didn't see Jerry Jones talk last week, because they don't know what's going to come out of his mouth. The son says one thing and Jerry says another. So they're like, let's stop the press conferences with Jerry. It doesn't ever seem to end positively right now. And off of that, what I want to ask you, Charean, in Dallas right now, and the local newspapers, whatever, what's the mojo? What's the feel of the Cowboys and the current state of the franchise and where it's going?
I have neighbors who are season ticket holders, and they got just a little bit, not a lot, a little bit more optimism after they heard Brian Schottenheimer and they saw some of the staff they were hiring and talking about running the football. And they're dreaming of Ashton Genty coming here and coming back home and running for the Cowboys and doing some things that Tony Dorsett and Emmitt Smith did and all that sort of thing. And now I think with what they've heard from Jerry and what they think is going to happen in free agency, I think they're a little more pessimistic and angry and all those things again, frustrated. I mean, it's been a long 30 years here. Since the Cowboys won a championship, as we all know. And so I think they're back where they've been the past few years, thinking, well, they're not doing anything free agency. How do we expect to get better? And the thing is, they're not just chasing the Eagles now. The Commanders have passed them.
That's right.
So they're chasing two teams. They've got to leapfrog two teams. And if they do nothing, I don't see how they're going to leapfrog both those teams. The Commanders have already gotten better. They've gotten better this offseason already, and free agency hadn't even started. And the Cowboys are talking about, we don't think we're going to be aggressive in free agency.
Well, and this approach that we're going to fill our voids through the draft, that puts a lot of pressure on the Cowboys to hit on as many draft picks as possible and to get guys who are more likely to plug and play, because you're not developing, you're not thinking a year or two down the road, you're thinking, who can we draft that we can put on the field this year? And that's a hell of a risk to take, because you get the wrong guy out on the field at the wrong time and you got a problem. So I don't understand it. And they're clearing all this cap space too. I know it's an automatic restructure of contracts, but what's the urgency to clear cap space? I mean, I know they need to get under the cap, but they're clearing a ton of cap space.
Yeah.
They got $54 million in cap space. Are you just going to let it sit there? Chris?
I mean, eight.
Anyone?
8 on that list, Mike. 8. They've got the money. Go out and what are you spending it on? The only thing I can think, are they going to trade for somebody? Are they trying to put something together to go make a trade? They did that 2 years ago. They made 2 trades. They got Brandon Cooks and got Stephon Gilmore, and that made them better. And if you're going to do that in lieu of free agency, that's okay. You're adding good players. You're adding veteran players to supplement. They didn't do that last year, but you've got all this money to spend. You can't just let it sit there.
That's all right. And there's you don't hear anything there in Dallas from any of the insiders or anything, because that's where my mind went. That with these restructuring, is there something more? I know they got to pay Micah Parsons, and they're trying to figure that out. But this can't all be about Micah Parsons. And like you guys said, they're sitting pretty right now. I mean, what are they, 10th or 11th or 12th in cap space, somewhere around there, top 10-ish. Oh, 8th. Sorry, Pete's in my ear. But you don't have any feel for moves that might be made or what people there might be talking about in the Dallas Morning News or anything like that, do you?
Well, I mean, Mike and I kind of talked about this last week. I mean, the big move you would make is to get Myles Garrett on your roster. Do I think the Cowboys are going to do that? Absolutely not. That's not their MO. That's not what they do. But there's got to be something brewing. There's got to be a reason that money is there. I think, now maybe not, but I think there has to be a reason that money's there. I hope they have a plan for what they're going to do. It like you said, Mike, it just can't all be draft pick. Even if you hit on draft, 7th round, 6th round, 5th round guys aren't going to come in and start for you in most cases. There's exceptions, but you can't count on 5th, 6th, 7th guys to step right in and fill those voids and to be quality depth guys. And you're going to have injuries, by the way. They've got to do something else, whether it's a trade, whether it's free agency. They got to fill in these holes some way.
I still think that Jerry's silence at the scouting combine wasn't about we can't let him talk because whenever he talks, he says something unfortunate. It was about they're up to something. We just don't know what it is, because they could have steered him out of the room yesterday after the Zach Martin press conference. That clip we played wasn't during the press conference. It was after, and he goes and he starts talking to reporters. They just need to have somebody lead him out of the room as soon as the press conference is over and not let him talk. If it was, we didn't let him talk last week for that reason, we don't let him talk today because of that reason until we're able to implement a plan, whatever the plan may be. All right, we've got to go. But, Charean, I'll leave you with this. Since 60 is the operative number of the day, my favorite stat right now in the NFL, the first 30 Super Bowls, the Cowboys played in the game to get to the Super Bowl 16 times. And this year will be 30 games with the Cowboys playing 0 times in the game to get to the Super Bowl. As I've told Chris before, I would have bet everything that I've earned, owned, and would ever make that the Cowboys would get back to the NFC Championship game in 30 years. That is incredible, and it looks like it's not ending, Charean.
Pretty incredible stat, isn't it, Mike? Yeah, and it doesn't look like it's ending anytime soon.
Cowboys and Vikings in Suckyville. Music to my ears. I love it.
Well, but at least the Cowboys have a few trophies.
Yeah, you don't. And that's why you're
least.
defecting to the Eagles, apparently. Sorry,
That's
Minnesota.
true. I don't know, Charean, if you haven't heard that. Charean's not going to be happy about that either. I might become an Eagles fan. So both of you can go to hell because you're Cowboys and Giants fans. All right, Charean, you don't need
Happy
to go to hell.
birthday,
It's your
Charean.
birthday. Enjoy your day.
Thank you.
You can have as much time off today as you want. Don't tell the others. Just go whenever you want to go. That's my gift to you because it didn't cost anything. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.